That's what I want to hear. And more Jimi Hendrix feedback. Who thinks business is important? All right, we got somebody here that knows something about some business. He's a Colorado native, a National Guardsman, former Arapahoe County Commissioner, and we're proud to have the CEO and President of the Denver Metro South Chamber of Commerce, Mr. John Brackney. Thanks a lot.
Most of you aren't going to like this, but you got to come forward or you won't be able to hear me. If you're way back and you don't want to hear me, that's fine as well. So, I mean, I'd come real forward to save my voice.
You like things up close and personal.
Actually, I think it's important that we all are in this together, so to speak. There is nothing I've spent more time on in my professional career than kind of what we're doing the chants about, freedom and liberty. I just think those are just outstanding words, but it occurred to me in the last 5 years, and some of you are much smarter than I am, most of you are probably smarter than I am, freedom and liberty means different things to different people, and that's really odd, especially if there's some strict constructionalists in the audience. No, how could it possibly mean something different? And I'd ask you all to really, really think about those words. Not just today, but in your average, everyday conversation throughout the week, in your neighborhood, and at work, in your faith if you have one. I don't think there's something more important that we can be talking about than this subject. I firmly believe that we are in the biggest and greatest experiment in the history of the human race, and that's called America. I think it's really, really precious, and if you're a student of history, you realize how absolutely amazing this experiment has been. And if you get angry, well, at your neighbors, as you do, and if you get angry at your family members, as you do, if you get angry at government, as you do, well, welcome to the real world. That's called human beingness. Of course we get angry at each other, especially family members, or at least in my case. And if we don't talk about freedom and liberty in the right way constantly, I think there's a real potential at some point in the future that America as we know it won't exist. And I'm not talking about current day battles here in this capital that I was an intern for 3 years, or in the United States, and hopefully some of you have served our military, or at least honored those who served with you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about culture. I'm talking about not laws, because laws are important whether we pass them or oppose them. I'm just talking about the sense of individual liberty, freedom, and responsibility that goes with it, that allows our system of government to operate. Sometimes not very effective, but it allows it to operate. And if we're not very, very, very careful, I think someday we're going to lose it. So I wanted to be very, very casual today. I wanted to do it down here with you, because I think this is the beginning. Not a one-day seminar, one day here's some lectures. I think it's your responsibility more than it is a former past elected official or a chamber president. I think it's more important than that. Was a beautiful speech that we had. That was just remarkable.
Yeah.
I think the way you engage in your daily lives has much more importance than what I ever could say, because that's going to cause other folks to react to your behavior or your symbolism or your speech. People will write laws because of how you all behave, how I behave, not what they do in the halls of this Capitol or the one in DC. And so I offer, for any of you that would like to carry on this conversation with me, I'm not an organizer, I was just asked to speak. I want to have this conversation. I've had a U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights on my office when I was an elected official and now in my current job for over a decade. And I've had literally thousands of people pass those two documents and only a couple dozen conversations about it. And when anyone even gives a glimpse of, hey, what's that about? Or why is that on your wall? What's that mean? I stop whatever I'm doing and we have a conversation. Because in my mind, the Constitution is the most important document that we have that makes us American. It's
Yeah.
the uniqueness of what makes us American. It's not where we were born or what our religion is. It's the only country that's based on a value, a rule of law, and respect for the people that formed this government, not the other way around. And that is so unique. We forget about those kind of things. We really do. We carry on with our job and our family, and we realize how preciously rare it is in the whole history of the human race. And so it's up to us to talk about it regularly and ongoing, and up to us to disagree about what that means. My favorite conversations are with my father about the Constitution, because he kind of raised me on it. And we argue all the time, and he's almost always wrong. But it's that conversation back and forth of knowing how we connect to each other as human beings and what the appropriate role of government is, whether it really should be a local issue at a school board or maybe even a neighborhood issue. Sometimes it should be left to the city. Sometimes they do have to decide things here in this building. Oftentimes, unless it's national defense, it doesn't need to be done in Washington. It should be done in this building.
Yeah.
And yes, we should be really angry at each other. I bet I disagree with a couple major social issues with 2/3 of this group here today. We should really be angry with each other. They're life and death decisions sometimes. But we should do it in a very, very thoughtful way, because I want to leave you with this. I think, I'm a former elected Republican. I've been a Republican precinct leader for, I think, 16 out of the last 20 years. Believe it or not, I have to say it truthfully, I'm kind of proud about being a Republican. But for the last decade, maybe just 5 years, I associate myself, and don't clap on this because I'm going to offend you here in a second, I associate myself more with libertarians. But the reason I'm not a libertarian is I think they're crazy.
Look around.
I think they're crazy.
Yeah.
No more so. Now I'll backtrack. I told you I'd be controversial. I also think Republicans and Democrats are pretty crazy. But let me leave you with this thought. I think a majority of America is not in the middle because they don't care about the left and the right, and not because they don't have strong issues. But I think the reason we go to R, then D, then R, then D, is because most people in the middle think that one party or the other abuses liberty and freedom, and the pendulum swings to the other side, and then swings to the other side again. And there's a vast group of people. When I've told people for the last 5 years that I associate myself more with the Libertarian Party, we have a great conversation. We talk about social issues, we talk about guns, we talk about gays, we talk about the Constitution, we talk about Bible, we talk about property rights, we talk about national defense, we talk about the proper role and relationship of government. We talk about what the Bill of Rights actually means. We talk about the difference between the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, two totally different kinds of documents. It is fun stuff. And I want to tell you that if you use your brain, and I know many of you, or hopefully all of you, all the time use your brain and a little bit of heart and carry on those conversations, I think America is going to be the better for it. And that's why I'm here today. Thank you for participating in Liberty.
Hey!